What if Supreme Strange intervened in the final episode in What If Season 2 with a twist I was not expecting? So we're going to be breaking down the final episode and where it went and all the abundant amount of Easter eggs and references that were shown during it. And before we get into it, this episode was awesome. I think Season 2 has been easily way better than Season 1, and so many things just topped the first season. When it came to how they structured the episodes, I think I enjoyed almost every single one. I think it started off a little slow with episode 1, but everything else was really good. However, I am excited for Season 3 because that is coming. Scene sent out the other day with Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier driving through their estates and Bill Foster as an agent questioning them. Apparently that was supposed to be in Season 2, so it's another episode like the Gamora episode from Season 1 that got pushed to the next season. So I'm looking forward to seeing it because if they're already releasing this for Season 3, it means we're probably getting Season 3 earlier than we think. So with that, let's jump into the episode breakdown for episode 9 of What If Season 2. So first of all, the way the Marvel intro starts is the long intro once again. Instead of having our normal Marvel characters in this, it's all the What If characters doing similar poses to the ones that we see normally. So I thought that was really cool, and I like how they added that detail in for the final episode of the season. When the Watcher is talking about Captain Carter and Supreme Strange, he's talking about two legends and gives us a quick recap of their stories and how they got to this moment in time. And it seems like at this point that Supreme Strange is doing good work. He brings Captain Carter to his sanctum, and he's been collecting universe killers in order to save the multiverse, and he's doing it in the same kind of prison realms the Watcher made at the end of Season 2 with Ultron and Killmonger. We get to see Infinity Ultron again with the gemstones on him, which was kind of weird because we did see Killmonger later in the episode wearing the same suit. That could just been a little reference to that, just so we had a little Easter egg rather than it actually being him. Then we got a gnome. Don't know where that's from, but a gnome. We got Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, Loki, Collector, Wenwu, Kid Peter Quill, which I wonder if it's the one from episode 2 of What If, Hulk, Banner of War, which is the Hulk with the power of Thor from recent comics. And during this too, Peggy Carter is like, you know, whenever you have something dangerous, it usually escapes. Then references Gremlins, Aliens, and Jurassic Park. And this was all cool because as the episode progressed, we saw more and more characters that were just trapped in these prison realms. But that leads into the plot where Supreme Strange says one of them has escaped. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, oh my god, he's talking about Kahhori because we haven't seen her yet. And we know it looked like he recruited her back in her episode. So as soon as Peggy got sent to South Dakota Badlands, we find out that this reality was taken over by Hydra. We have Red Skull on Mount Rushmore. And it turns out in this universe, Steve and Peggy died during the experiment and the Hydra unleashed the Tesseract's power on the world. So I thought that was cool leading into the Kahhori scene as well, with Kahhori versing Captain Carter. And it's funny because while she's doing this, she's hitting Captain Carter, and the first thing that came into my mind was Hawkeye versus Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, where Quicksilver's like,
you didn't see that coming?
So I thought that was a cool reference there. But that's when we got the huge twist of events. That Strange has actually been collecting universe healers as well, and has been lying to Captain Carter this entire time. Which it seemed a little off that he was collecting all these universe killers because, like Captain Carter said, a bunch of dangerous things in a one place definitely screams disaster because they usually escape. And it was interesting to find out that the reason Supreme Strange is doing this is because he's trying to resurrect his universe and Christine. At the end of last season, I thought he had kind of repented this and that he was on this more hero's journey because he realized his mistakes and what he shouldn't have done. But no, he's been corrupted by his grief, and now he's going after all these people in order to resurrect his universe, which is a lot of powerful beings. But some of them don't really seem like universe killers. Like you have normal Star-Lord in this, you have Rocket. I just kind of wonder what their role in the universe would have been to make them either these universe killers or righteous healers. However, Peggy does stand up and say that she would never do this for Steve, and that's true because her and Steve have both sacrificed themselves for each other, and they would never risk the universe dying for their own needs. And I really like how that shows what kind of hero each one of them is. One gains strength from their grief, while the other one manipulate them and control them to doing bad things. And that's when we get Carter unleashing a bunch of heroes and villains from those prison realms, where we got Cowboy Loki, Happy Hogan Hulk appears, and I said last episode that I bet you any money that he's going to show up in the final, and he did. We also got a Howard the Duck that looked a little bit more evil. Someone said a vampire. It could be a vampire. We got the Great Protector Dragon coming in and then destroying more of the realms. We got a Chitauri, we got Vision, Captain Marvel, Star-Lord, Proxima Midnight, Wenwu, Skrulls. We also got a normal Thor, and it looks like King Thor going at it. And this is also finally where we get to see Rocket that's all souped up with a bunch of dark elves, and that kind of explains where they came from now. We got a Wild West Loki, and then Zombie Scarlet Witch is back and attacks Captain Carter and Kahhori, which we get this pretty cool fight with Kahhori using the Space Stone's power against Scarlet Witch. He's using her chaos magic, and I loved how Hela came in and she takes control of the zombies because that's exactly what she does. Kind of referencing that scene from Thor Ragnarok where she resurrects the dead and uses them as her soldiers. Plus, when Surtur comes in and they start to fight each other, recognizing one another. I saw someone talking about how this could have been the Surtur and and Hela from Thor Ragnarok, because we never actually saw them die. Supreme Strange could have pulled them right after they destroyed Asgard. I think that's pretty cool if that is a reference to that. But then we finally get that Thanos scene where Thanos comes in with the full Infinity Gauntlet and faces Captain Carter and Kahhori, but then gets snapped away instantly by Infinity Armor Killmonger, the villain from season 1, who got wrecked really quickly because Kahhori just teleports him out of his armor and sends him into the main fight, which I thought was funny because they just kind of got rid of him and they just kept moving forward. Honestly, I really like Kahhori after this episode. I liked what she was able to do, and I liked her teaming up with Captain Carter. She's a great character, an original one at that, and I hope we get to see more of her in the future. And I just love how Captain Carter put on the Infinity Armor because it looked sick and it just leveled up her power. She is a great character as well, and I just love her in the series. Supreme Strange versus Captain Carter and Kahhori was an awesome fight with just so many things going on at the same time, and I feel like they did some of this stuff just to have this cool epic fight, kind of ignoring some of the logical aspects of things and just said, let's have a giant monster fight and just have fun with it. Like having Captain Carter make a bunch of her own selves with the Reality Stone because Supreme Strange made a bunch of copies of himself, and have them going to fight the Dreamscape kind of area where Supreme Strange tries to convince Captain Carter that he's Steve and tries to get her to stay with him, but of course she's smarter and she knows Steve would never do anything like that and just takes him out. I think that added a lot because both Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter couldn't fall for a trap like that. They know what is right, and they are true heroes who fight till the end no matter what, letting go of the people they love in order to win the fight, because they aren't as selfish as Supreme Strange seems to be. That's why Supreme Strange also starts feeding everyone to the Forge, because he thinks he can get away with it while everyone else fighting. And Kahhori and Captain Carter both multiple times try to stop them from being sent in, and it's just like a constant back and forth, which just leads into this awesome moment where Hela throws her crown at Captain Carter saying give her hell, and just everyone else starts giving them their weapons, like the 10 rings, Mjolnir, and all the different swords, Odin's spear, and just having this really epic moment where Captain Carter and Kahhori are wielding a bunch of powerful weapons from the Marvel Universe. And this is what I said, some of this doesn't make sense, but it's just like this cool epic fight that you want to see, and it's just like, let's give them all these powerful weapons and see what happens, which just leads to the beatdown of the Century and having Supreme Strange turn into this giant monster because of everything he's absorbed over the years. And I thought that was really cool, showing how dark and evil Supreme Strange has come. Again, after last season, it looked like he repented, but no, he's actually gone worse, even more corrupted than he was before. I love the moment where Captain Carter catches the Infinity Stones in her hand and knocks down Supreme Strange, because that was one of the things that also didn't make much sense, because the Hulk's arm got busted when they snapped. So maybe the power is used differently when she's using it that way. But also, I think it was just an epic moment to show this cool fight going on. But that's when we find out that Strange is still in there. He's still his self that wanted to help, but he was taken over by grief, and he wasn't able to stop himself from losing it. The inner demons that exist in him took over and turned him into this monster. Even having the good part of him fight himself to not take out Peggy and end up falling into the Forge himself, destroying it. So I thought that was pretty cool, showing the two differences between the characters, because they even mentioned earlier in the episode,
it was a loss that could have consumed her, but instead, it fueled her to become a hero for all time and times.
So that was kind of a tease for finding out that Supreme Strange was being run by his grief, and his grief had taken over. But like after the Forge explodes, Peggy Carter and Kahhori are saved by the Watcher, of course, and Captain Carter is brought to the Watcher's domain, which they kind of teased in the trailer with having the Watcher standing side by side with Captain Carter, showing that what if sign. So this is exactly what it was leading to. And with Supreme Strange falling into the Forge, it recreated his universe, saving Christine, but he was never born into it. So showing he was successful in his plan, he just never got to see where it went and get to actually live it. And it feels like after this ending, they're definitely setting up Captain Carter to be the savior of the multiverse and this guardian at that, especially with her staying with the Watcher and being like, well, is there anything else we can help? Feels like they're definitely setting her up to be a huge part of season 3 and Secret Wars, because at the very end, they show the Loki multiverse tree, showing Captain Carter what Loki has created at the beginning of time and how the multiverse has been reborn. Also showing it that most likely going forward, this Captain Carter will be brought back for live action and she will be helping out the Avengers. At least I hope that's what's going to happen, because it just feels like after season 1 and now season 2, they're definitely setting her up to be a bigger part in the MCU, which also just feels like they did her dirty during Multiverse of Madness when they killed that version off. She's a great character, and I really like what they did with her this season, especially having her more included in some of the other episodes, and I can't wait to see what they do with her in season 3 and the future, because I definitely feel like she's coming to live action at some point, but this version of her. But let me know, what do you think's gonna come from Captain Carter in the future? What other Easter eggs and references did you notice during the final episode of What If? And what did you think of this season as a whole? Thanks for watching my What If breakdown. If you want to see the other episodes, make sure you stay till the end and you'll see the playlist link. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button as tape to do with all my Marvel and DC breakdowns. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later when we watch more Marvel projects.